Days ago, I told you guys that according to a poll, you all said that skill-based matchmaking was the #1 problem that you had with the game right now. We also talked about recently Apex hitting a very low player count at 54,000. Now, of course, these are all based upon Steam charts, and there are much more players playing on the console, but Steam charts obviously give us a pretty good indication as to what the rest of the player base is doing, and if it's not necessarily the same numbers, you can also expect that it probably is declining like the Steam charts suggest. That's besides the point though. Recently we made a video about how Apex had hit one of the lowest player counts in its history at like 50,000 players on the game at the time. And of course, once again, Steam charts, obviously more on the game, but this was just based upon Steam, and considering it had gone low, we could expect that the other platforms as well had gone low also. But there is a difference between, you know, players at one given time and the average players on. You see, the average amount of players that Apex has had, according to 2 years ago, has sat roughly around 200,000, 175,000, give or take. And then about the last year or so, we've been sitting at about 150 and some 190s, 160s again. And then about 6 months ago, it all went down fast. 139, 116,000, 120,000, 107,000 last month. And here you go. The last 30 days, the average players has now, for the first time in a very long time, like 4 years ago, long time, has now dropped under 100,000 average players. On top of that, the peak players is at one of the lowest it has been in the last 4 years as well. This piece of news garnered so much of the fans' attention because many were out there saying things like the following: you know, the Apex Legends player count dips below 100,000 average, but so much for all the devs that swore up and down that SBMM keeps players engaged and playing for longer. Now, this all got a lot of attention on Reddit as well, and many of the comments are very quick to claim their take on this, and I believe you all watching the video feel the same way. There's pretty much no positivity at all, like Respawn saying we quick gotta print out more skins and $500 heirlooms to bring players back, or many changes that they don't like, or about all the Smurf accounts and the cheaters. It goes on, it goes on. But at the end of the day, I think people are all really mad about two specific things, and that's what we covered in the last polling that you guys took on my channel, and that was matchmaking and that was cheaters. The difference is, it's one thing to talk about what you guys may or may not be frustrated with. It's another thing to see proof of it in the actual chart showing the player base declining. We are hitting some of the worst numbers in the game's history, and it's all on a season that got a brand new map. I thought this was supposed to be the big season. What's sad is this has been a trajectory. Alpha Intel had reported back in June that Apex Legends average player count on Steam this month was the lowest it was since 2021. Now we're currently at the lowest it has been since like 2020 when the game first came on Steam. It's just getting worse and worse. There's no end in sight. People are wondering, when is it going to get better? I think if this season has taught us absolutely anything, it is simply the fact that a new season does not matter. A new map does not matter. What people want is to have fun. They want good game modes, they want less cheaters, and they want better matchmaking. If you could combine all three of those together with new features such as ranked leaderboards or better ranked rewards or tournaments that are in the game, I truly believe you would keep players engaged. You would keep them coming back because there would be something to grind for. Now, I thought that this take was very interesting. Jake Lucky, you guys know, news reporter, had actually sat down with one of the developers for a brand new game out there known as Supervive, and they have developers from like League of Legends, Valorant, Apex, all these big games that have ran the industry for years and years and years. They have developers that came together to make their own game. On top of that, you've got Valve making Deadlock. So many new games are out there now. Apex has competition, and if you remember years ago, we were always saying that if Apex does not clean up their act, they will lose to the competition out there. People will not stay around forever. Now that you're seeing games like this finally come to fruition, and you know, Deadlock is coming out, Supervive exists, even good games like X Defiant are not making it that well because the competition is so saturated, and all the games are pretty decent. Now, good news is that Apex is so unique enough that if they do get their act together, I believe they could bring people back and still have no problem. The bad news is, even when things were bad, people stayed around because there wasn't really much else to go to, but that's not the case anymore. People are getting hooked on other games. And when Jake Lucky sat down to talk to this developer about what his thoughts were on building a new game and their priorities here, this was refreshing to see. And I really hope that Apex takes this approach in the future. This clip is about 2 minutes long, but I just wanted to play an insert about their priorities of making sure that people have fun with the game. Roll the clip.
I just think players only care about, is your game any good? And you know, like is it going to give me any joy right now? I don't think players care about what you worked on, you know, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And so, yeah, like, and the market is crazy. There's so many options. There's so many new games. There's so many talented teams out there making stuff. You know, you see the number of games released on Steam year over year just going up and up and up and up. And
like I said, that guy is with a company that's making this game from developers of all over the place. Valorant, League of Legends, Overwatch, Apex, you name it. They've got all these devs into one place now. I'm telling you from experience, I have spoke to some Apex developers that have left the game, and they told me that they did have problems with the way the game was being ran. It wasn't always necessarily going in the direction that they had hoped. Now, that's not to say that things can't change or still get better. I'm just saying, I think it makes sense as to why everyone points the finger at EA when things get bad. So now that it's not just talk anymore and we're seeing real results, what are your thoughts and what can Apex do to fix this? Now, let's just keep in mind that they do still have a lot of players. Apex is not dead by any means. It is in the act of decaying away, but I don't think it will die, and I don't think it's dead. Is there anything they need to do besides work on matchmaking and cheating, or is that just it? Let us know down in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more Apex Legends content and updates, and until the next time, we'll see you all later.